I want to explain that even though I really wanted to write this down in a blog post or a Facebook post, I think that speaking words as a human to other humans is a better way to relate to humans. And so it is after a long hiatus and a confusing YouTube career that I come back to this world to speak my mind and tell you my feelings and hopefully don't get murdered for it. No. So anyway, this video is for, I don't know how to put this. We call ourselves Americans, but lately a lot of my viewers have been reminding me that the word American refers to anyone from North America or South America, which in many countries is thought as one continent, just America, with a north part and a south part. So I guess this video is for my fellow United Statesians, though if you do not fit that description, you are welcome to stay anyway, because everyone is welcome. Do you remember the first time you learned about the Holocaust? Maybe it was middle school, and at least one person in your class for sure said something like, I wouldn't have let that happen. For sure I wouldn't have let that happen. That sounds so absolutely out there. I couldn't have slept at night if I knew this was happening. We grew up in a privileged time because during World War II in the 30s and the 40s, well, the Holocaust was happening. In wartime America, things are tough, times are tough, Americans die in greater numbers than they normally do. And even though wars are, I guess, technically good for the economy, is what people keep saying, times were tough. Women were sending in their stockings to be made into some sort of military equipment, and men were all off to war, so women were taking factory jobs. And when the argument came to their forefront saying, yeah, 6 million Jews are being killed in gas chambers, but we can't really help them. You know, America's got our own issues. We really have to just focus on us right now. It wasn't too hard for a lot of people reading that newspaper to say, gosh, that is horrible, but you're right. What can we do? Just pray for them, I guess, thoughts and prayers. What we ended up realizing later on, after World War II, is we probably could have helped those people. We probably should have helped those people, and it's incredibly embarrassing that we did not step up to help those people as a world leader. Really embarrassing. What we did after Hitler's fall was we drafted something with many other nations called the Geneva Conventions, and those conventions are to protect refugees who are in a situation of imminent death. If you think for a second that the people escaping tyranny in Syria right now do not meet the requirements of a refugee, I guarantee you do not know what a refugee is. That is the most obvious refugee there has ever been in my lifetime. If you have a problem with our following the Geneva Convention or any other international dictate that all civilized nations adhere to, that we helped formulate ourselves because we wanted to make sure that, I don't know, another Holocaust can happen, I just hope that you consider the benefits that these conventions have on the world's economy, the world's society, the world's ability to work on a level that can compete with Americans in a way that drives us both forward. We're getting a second chance right now to make the right decision. And there is a huge number of Americans who currently believe that it is not our problem to help the people in Syria. Yeah, I didn't make this Hitler comparison to call Donald Trump Hitler. I'm calling Donald Trump the American president who won't let the refugees in after we drafted and signed the Geneva Convention, and that is a violation of international law. It would be a really good idea to not violate international law in your first 10 days in office. The Donald Trump stay on immigration is apparently put in place to make sure that we identify the parts of our vetting systems that come up short and rectify that, right? And that sounds reasonable. If you know absolutely nothing about how the United Nations vets refugees, if you happen to know anything about how the United Nations vets refugees, then you know that it often takes over an entire year. If you are of speaking age, I'm talking 3 years old, they're interviewing you and they're going to try and get you to implicate your family in some terrorist ties. They vet you so hard that you wonder if you're going to live until the day they actually allow you into America. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So if you think that our current vetting stipulations are not strong enough, you should read some things. You are making decisions that our children's children will have to regret in history class. And really, do we want to do that again if we have that memory of that feeling in the pit of our stomach when we found out what happened to the less popular groups of human beings in World War II Germany? If we remember that feeling, we should feel that feeling for the people who were trying to escape ISIS, a common enemy. If you turn these people away because our president doesn't understand how a vetted system works, because he needs time to study up on it, People are going to die because of that decision. And I know that you might agree with me, even if you disagree with me, that people will die. Sure, some people will die, and that's collateral damage for American safety. Let me tell you something. In Syria, you live in a small town and ISIS comes to your town. They put a machine gun to your head and they say, do you want to die? On the ground right now on your knees in front of your young children, or are you ready to join ISIS? When we send these thousands of desperate immigrants back to where they came from, I'm not calling it home because there is no place that you would call home where there's a stranger holding a machine gun to your head. They will be forced to make the decision, live or ISIS. And guess how many are going to choose ISIS? It's not just a few citizens, and it's not just collateral damage. This is thousands of people who, just like us, reject ISIS. People who, just like us, want ISIS to be wiped off the face of the earth. But these people are facing ISIS in their homes. ISIS is infiltrating where they live. And as a nation who at least somewhat helped create the insane vacuum in the Middle East that allowed these terrorist organizations to flourish, until we clean up our mess, they should get to stay with us. There's a huge statue on Ellis Island welcoming immigrants. This is not what America's supposed to be doing. We are supposed to be the one nation who stands proud in our acceptance of others. Do not let your own misunderstanding of a different culture stop you from doing the right thing, the American thing.